Thank you for browsing page 121. Today I'm going to tell a little story where I got my butt kicked by my players. It was really fun. I ran this game just a short while before making this video. I was running a game. It was 8th to 11th level player characters, and it was part of an ongoing game where the players were dealing with a magic user who'd been confounding them in different ways, and kind of a recurring villain, but not a major one or anything. And I thought, okay, they've rousted him from this lair, and they found a secret apartment he had in the city of Greyhawk and all that stuff. So they're trying to run this guy to ground. So I gave him a tower, and the tower was set in a remote, lonely area. And I did kind of the game of death thing from the old Bruce Lee movie, where they start at the first level with a challenge, up the stairs, second level, and I have a big 9-inch tower that I built, and I take the layers off. If there's any interest in seeing a video about that tower, let me know. I'll be happy to show it. So I'm doing the game of death thing, and when they got to the top, before they got to the top floor, they were going to have my big encounter of the night, the big bad evil guy of that night. Not the magic user himself, but a little trap he had waiting for players that got that far in his lair. And that trap was in the form of an iron golem, halfway up the stairs in the tower to the top level, hidden by an illusion, a permanent illusion. And so the players could only go up. I wouldn't allow fly to work in the tower and stuff like that. I gave it all kinds of different exotic defenses. They had to go up the stairs, and all this was part of my contrived plan to make them go up the stairs. So they decided they were going to go up. They defeated whatever menace was on that level. They figured they were clear till they went up the stairs to the next level, not knowing that I had the illusion sitting in the middle of the stairs, and standing on the stairs in that level was an iron golem. So one of the fighters started up the stairs, way ahead of the rest of the party, unfortunately, for me, so that when the iron golem stepped out of the illusion and they saw that it was an iron golem, I can't cover the iron golem itself, I can't affect with an illusion, I can affect the area it's in with an illusion. So the iron golem stepped out and breathed, and their breath is slow, and this guy was slowed. So he immediately tried to get down off the stairs. He actually jumped off the side of the stairs, figuring the iron golem wouldn't jump down after him, and he would still be slowed, because that's the breath effect. When you fail a saving throw versus an iron golem, you're slowed. So I'd hoped to get 2 or 3 in that and make it a real challenge, but okay. And I knew that overall they were up to the challenge, but I really thought I'd tear them up a little bit. So this was my late night kind of thing. We got half an hour of the game. Here's my big encounter. So I'm okay. That didn't go quite the way I wanted to, but the iron golem's coming down the stairs menacingly. And I described, he's coming down the stairs and you guys are there, what do you do? And the magic user of the group said I cast grease on the floor just before he steps on it. And I went, oh. And I could have made a ruling that said he's too heavy, he would still stick on the stair. I thought that was a chumpy way to go. I thought it was funny that the player thought of doing this to buy them some time. So I had the golem step on the stair, step in the grease. I had him fall down the stairs. I described it as 2 empty dumpsters falling down a flight of stone stairs. And he landed at the bottom of the stairs. Everybody got a good chuckle out of that. The players were regrouping, trying to figure out what they were doing. Roy, who was playing a druid. The druid happened to have a wand of metal command. That's out of the Unearthed Arcana book. If there's interest in seeing that wand, I'd be happy to do it in a future video. But the important aspect for this video was, by expending 3 charges and touching the target, you can cast a crystal brittle, which takes metal and turns it into a glass-like substance that's easily shattered. So Roy says, I pull my wand. I cost him a couple of segments to pull the wand out. He activated it, ran over and touched it. All the while the golem is getting to its feet. So he touched it. He successfully rolled a 16 and a 20. I'd already told him that I needed something like a 14 in order for him to do it. And so he successfully touched the golem. And he says, okay, it's crystal brittle. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't think this is going to affect a golem. They're immune to most spells. And he's like, well, let's look it up. I said, okay. So I looked it up. Boy, was I wrong. Iron golems are mentioned in the crystal brittle write-up as being affected by that spell. It's a 9th level magic user spell enabled by a wand for 3 charges. I had given him this wand forever ago and completely forgotten about it. I think he had too. He happened to remember it. So we looked it up, and the Iron Golem, as in the write-up, had a 15% chance of not being affected. Threw the percentage dice out in front of my players. I rolled a 75. He was affected, absolutely. He turned to crystal. As the other fighter in the group, who had his bow out, fired an arrow. And within a few segments, my golem went from menacing and coming down the flight of stairs to falling on his face at the bottom of the stairs, turned to crystal, and shattered by a fired arrow. Now, I realized the arrow itself might not have had enough mass to shatter anything like that, but I thought the whole situation was so hysterical, so spontaneous, and so well played by my players that I absolutely had to just give it to them, as done, with a laugh. It was one of the best times I've ever been beaten when the players had no idea what was coming and had not coordinated anything. These are players that have been playing together for a very, very long time. My son Patrick is the newest to our group, and he joined in 2010. So he's the newbie at 16-year experience at our table. Roy's the new outside guy, the member not of my family, and he joined us in 1997. So we're a long-time group, and to get beaten that way so well by my players in ways that arguably should have worked, and in fact I couldn't have taken away from them, I wouldn't have felt right about it. I thought it was hysterical. And I even went to the point and said, well, wait a minute, it's still an Iron Golem. Is that a +3 or better bow? And he said, no, it's a +1 bow, but it's +3 arrow. Iron Golems are only hit by +3 or better weapons. I would have allowed it either way in the crystal form, but I thought I'd try to dig on that a little bit, and even there they had me covered. So I got beat. I got beat completely. I laughed like crazy. I gave them the reward of the next floor. There was no other challenge up there at the top floor of the Game of Death. That was where the loot was and the stuff the Magic user hadn't had time to vacate and stuff. So that's what we spent the rest of the game doing. So here an encounter I thought would take 20 minutes or so and tear the party up pretty badly, use up a lot of resources, was over in essentially a round and a half. And I was sitting there with egg on my face and just laughing. So they happen. I've been DMing 46 years. And I got completely stomped by my players in that encounter, and I congratulated them. I gave them bonus experience points for the night for just the unrehearsed, well-done teamwork. It was a lot of fun. I like getting stomped like that. So let me know, have you had something similar happen in your game? I'm sure most DMs have a story like this. I just decided to share it. I wanted to say to my group, thank you. You guys have been great players to game with all these years. I like that you show up every week. I like that you appreciate the effort I put into it, and I like when you kick my butt. But that's all I've got to say today on page 121. I just wanted to talk about a defeat that I suffered as the DM, and it was a lot of fun. So put your war stories below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends to keep growing the channel. Let me know if you want to hear more war story videos like this. I have many. Not any as recent or as devastating as that one, but there are many. So let me know if you're interested in something like that in this type of format, or if you want me to just stick to stuff out of the game, anything like that. I can also do the same thing for Traveler, Gamma World Champions. I've run those games for decades. I have lots of war stories for those too, so let me know if you're interested in them. But that's all I've got today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.